Here's a really strange truth about economics is that sometimes the story we tell ourselves about the economy matters as much as the underlying fundamentals. Narrative isn't just how we describe reality, it oftentimes can shape reality. Economist Robert Shiller won a Nobel Prize partly for this insight. He argued that economic events are driven by contagious narratives, stories that spread, mutate, and influence behavior at scale. If you think about something like the Great Depression, it wasn't just a financial crisis, it was a story that people told themselves about what was possible, and that story deepened the collapse. And if you think about how this works practically, if enough people believe a recession is coming, they'll oftentimes pull back on spending. Businesses will see demand drop and cut jobs. The job losses confirm the recession narrative, and then that belief becomes self-fulfilling. The story created by the reality, it's there. The same mechanism works in reverse. Something like consumer confidence, which is a literal measure of how people feel about the economy, can oftentimes predict actual economic performance. Optimism loosens wallets, spending increases, businesses hire. The optimistic narrative can help validate itself. And I think that's why a lot of political leaders really obsess over economic messaging. Saying the economy is strong is not just a description. It is a lot of times a way to shape economic reality, right? Like if enough people believe it, they might act accordingly, and then their actions make it true. If they don't believe it, if the narrative diverges too far from lived experience, the story loses its power and trust collapses. I would argue right now we are living through a narrative crisis. Official metrics and headlines and officials say one thing, household experience and how a lot of people feel about their money is another. And when that gap grows too wide, people stop believing in any economic story, and that disbelief can have its own consequences. The uncomfortable implication with all this is that economics isn't purely objective. It is a system run by humans who respond to narratives, not just numbers. And the stories we tell ourselves about money, markets, and prosperity don't just reflect what's happening, they oftentimes participate in making it happen. For example, a good story can't conjure prosperity from nothing, but it can tip the balance when the fundamentals are more vague. So narrative is very much a force, and it plays a very big role in our economy.